We're going to be hearing about Lord Balaram's killing of Pralambasura.
我们今天准备来聆听主 Balarama 铲除 Pralambasura 的消时光。
In Garga Samhita, there's an interesting description of how Pralambasura came under the jurisdiction of Kamsa.
在 Garga Samhita 当中，有一段非常有意思的描述，描述了 Pralambasura 是怎么去到 Kamsa 的管辖区域的。
Kamsa was very, very powerful king.
Kamsa 是一位非常非常有力量的国王。
He traveled throughout all the kingdoms and challenged the kings, defeated the kings until there was no one left but the king himself.
Kamsa 他在他的领土四处的去挑战，去游弋，去挑战当地的所有的那些君王，直到那些君王们一一的臣服，只剩下这个国王而已。
He then gave the remaining king the opportunity to either surrender to him or die.
然后他将那些存活下来的国王给出这样的命令：要么你臣服，俯首称臣，要么死去。
Pralambasura was one of those kings.
Pralambasura 就是这些众多君王当中的一位。
And Kamsa wanted help from others to try to kill Krishna, but everyone who he sent, his best men and Putana, best ladies, they were all killed by Krishna.
Kamsa 渴望得到其他人的帮助去杀死 Krishna。他在之前派遣了他所有的得力的助手，以及其中的一位非常得力的女士 Putana， 但是这些人都无功而返，一一的被铲除掉。
Once, when Pralambasura was visiting Kamsa and he saw him in this sad mood,
有一次 Pralambasura 去拜访 Kamsa， 看见 Kamsa 陷入悲痛之中，
he volunteered, I will go, just give me the order.
然后他自告奋勇地说：“我会前去，你就命令我吧。”
And Pralambasura and Kamsa insulted him.
然后 Kamsa 侮辱了 Pralambasura，
He called him a mosquito.
他把他称为是小蚊子般的小人物。
What are you going to be able to do?
你能够做什么呢？
The chivalry spirit of Pralambasura was made even stronger, and he said, just try me out, send me and I'll take care of this little boy.
Pralambasura 听了 Kamsa 的一席侮辱之话之后，他心中的那种武士的精神的情绪立刻高涨起来了。然后他对 Kamsa 说道：“您就让我试试吧，就命令我前去吧。”
Pralambasura had the capacity, like some demons, to change shapes.
Pralambasura 跟一些其他的恶魔有这种能力，能够变换躯体的能力。
In his original shape, he went here and there throughout the land of Braja, searching for Krishna.
他以他原形之身，去在 Raja 之地四处漫游，去寻找 Krishna。
Now, when we go to Vrindavan searching for Krishna, we have some different idea than killing Krishna, but that was Pralamba's idea.
当我们去拜访 Raja Vrindavan 的时候，我们内心的想法是截然不同的。但是 Pralambasura 他的内心的状态是前去 Vrindavan 找到 Krishna 并杀死他。
Even more than killing Krishna, his idea was to kidnap him and Balaram and bring them to Mathura and have them stand humiliated before Kamsa. He thought he was so powerful.
Pralambasura 自以为自己很强大，他不仅想要杀死 Krishna， 除此之外，他想去绑架 Krishna 和 Balarama， 并且把他们二人带到 Mathura， 在 Kamsa 的面前想要羞辱 Krishna 和 Balarama。
But Krishna was just enjoying life in Vrindavan, as he always does.
但是 Krishna 他总是一直不断的在 Vrindavan 享受着那里的生活和快乐。
Let us hear how Krishna was enjoying life in Vrindavan with the cowherd boys.
我们现在来听一听 Krishna 在 Vrindavan 是如何和那些牧牛童们一起享受的 Braja 的快乐时光。
The life of a cowherd boy is very wonderful.
牧牛童的生活是非常非常奇妙的。
Some very elevated Vaishnavas that I know, that's their aspiration. They wish to become young cowherd boys in Vrindavan.
据我所了解到的一些非常杰出高尚的 Vaishnava 们，他们的内心受到激励，渴望成为那里 Vrindavan 的那些牧牛姑娘、牧牛童那样的心境。
Let us hear what life in Vrindavan is like.
我们现在来聆听一下 Vrindavan 的生活是怎样的。
Please read.
Yes, Vrindavan 是一个非常美丽的地方，那里鸟语花香，百兽率舞，林间遍布随处可见水声潺潺，格外悦耳动听。晶莹剔透的湖泊纵横交错，湖面点缀着五光十色的盛开的莲花。
Next.
瀑布飞溅的水花使空气变得清晰干净清爽，密布的溪水和湖泊让草儿长得葱绿油亮。鲜嫩的青草广袤无垠，牛儿尽情地啃食，快乐无比。
Down in the lower left corner, you see one cow.
我们在这张图片的左下角可以看到有一只乳牛。
In addition to domestic cows, there's some natural wildlife.
那么它们在这里过着快乐的时光，在广袤的草地上。
Read.
Yes, 空气弥漫着鲜花甜蜜的芳香和鸟儿的歌声。孔雀在百花丛中快乐地一边啼鸣一边起舞，鹿儿在风景如画的森林里悠闲平静地漫步。
That's some of the sights. Now here are some of the sounds.
这是描述了一些风景，现在我们来看一看那里的声音的描述。
Read.
Yes, 青蛙的呱呱声加入到森林交响乐中，使其更加的悦耳动听。
Into this setting, Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys come every day.
就是在这样的背景的描述的风景如画的这种风景当中 ，Krishna 和 Balarama 以及那些牧牛童们，他们每天来到这里。
Read.
Yes, Krishna 和他的哥哥 Balarama 协同他们的牧牛童朋友和乳牛，在这片美丽的森林信步漫游。他们用树叶、孔雀羽毛和鲜花花环装扮自己。
Their external activity is taking care of the cows or the calves, but actually their principal activity is playful like little boys will always be.
他们外在的活动看上去是照顾母牛和小牛犊，但是他们的主要的活动实际上是就像平常的小孩子那样一起嬉戏玩耍。
Right?
Yes, 男孩们载歌载舞，彼此摔跤。Krishna 吹着笛子翩翩起舞，有些男孩引吭高歌，其他男孩有的拍掌，有的吹响水牛号角。他们啧啧称赞 Krishna， 你跳得太美了。
Sometimes the boys dance, sometimes Krishna dances, sometimes they wrestle with each other, sometimes Krishna plays his flute, and they're having enjoyable activities together.
有的时候是这些牧牛童们在翩翩起舞，有的时候是 Krishna 在那里尽情的舞蹈，有的时候他们互相摔跤角逐，有的时候 Krishna 吹笛子，他们就这样享受着在 Vrindavan 的快乐逍遥时光。
Read.
Yes， 他们有的互相搂着肩膀向前踏步，有的互相鞠躬敬礼。他们就这样尽情的娱乐，行进到欢乐森林的深处。
This is just the start of the morning of a whole day's activity in the forest of Vrindavan.
这是他们在文达文森林一整天的活动开始，清晨的早上所做的活动。
Read.
Yes， 随着白昼流逝，他们继续玩耍着。有时他们玩瞎子抓人的游戏。Gumaj, the screen is not very clear. I couldn't see clearly the character.
You can read the text, but you can't see the picture?
Yeah, I mean the Chinese characters not clear. Yeah, but anyway, I can see the English translation. 有时他们玩瞎子抓人的游戏，他们一哄而散，努力的互相追逐彼此。
In China, do you have a game like this one that's shown on the left where a young boy puts a scarf over his eyes and the other boys try to hide and he tries to find the other boys, although he's blindfolded?
Yes, correct.
Just say it, translate.
那我们在中国的时候，小的时候，孩子们小的时候，有没有在这个图片上做这样的游戏？就是像这个图片上左边这个小男孩，他用被布蒙住了眼睛，然后其他的孩子们一哄而散，把自己躲起来、藏起来，然后这个被蒙了眼睛的小孩呢，去找他们，摸他们。有没有玩过这样的游戏？
Now remember, they're supposed to be herding cows.
请大家记住，他们应该去照顾乳牛的、放牛的。
But there's nothing to worry about.
但是他们一点都不担心。
Because the cows are so attached to Krishna, they just follow Krishna wherever he goes.
因为这些乳牛，他们非常的依恋 Krishna， 无论 Krishna 去到哪里，这些乳牛都会跟着 Krishna 去哪。
So in one sense, they're not really herding cows, they're just playing different games.
所以从一种角度来说，这些牧牛童们他们并没有在放牛，而是他们在享受着这些游戏的快乐。
Here's another game.
他们又做了另一个游戏。
Read.
Yes， 有时他们玩捉迷藏的游戏，他们攀上树上，跑过山丘，或藏到岩石后面。
You see way in the back on the left, there's one of the cowherd boys hiding behind a rock.
我们在这张图片的远处可以看到有一个小牧牛童把自己藏在了岩石后面。
On the right, one is hiding behind a bush.
那在左边有一个小牧牛童把自己藏在丛林里。
And the upper left is a boy hiding in a tree.
还有在左上角，我们看见一个小牧牛童把自己藏在树上。
And in the far right, there's a boy climbing up a hill.
在远处背景，我们可以看到有个小牧牛童在爬到了山上。
Here's another game they would play.
他们还玩了另外一个游戏。有时男孩们假装成国王和侍从 ，Krishna 和 Balarama 带着他们的朋友们，每日在美妙的文达文森林里玩这些游戏，其乐无穷。
Other than games, sometimes they would just imitate the forest animals or the birds or the frogs.
他们除了玩这些游戏之外，有的时候他们模仿森林里的鹿啊、各种鸟，还有青蛙呱呱的声音。
Read.
Yes， 他们喜欢模仿森林里的鹿啊和各种鸟。
On the left, this young boy is imitating a bird that's about to take flight.
在左边，我们看见这个小牧牛童在模仿鸟准备飞起来的姿势。
And the other boy is imitating a forest deer.
而在右边，那个小牧牛童在模仿森林当中的鹿儿。
Read.
Yes，他们有时像青蛙那样跳来跳去，有时开各种玩笑，有时荡秋千，有时模仿君王的样子。
Next.
他们还在华美的树冠下拽着蔓藤荡秋千玩。
These boys are very creative in finding fun in the forest.
这些牧牛童们，他们特别有创意，他们想着各种办法，在稳达文森林当中玩的高兴。
Read.
Yes， 王啊，当其他男孩手舞足蹈时 ，Krishna 和 Balarama 有时会为他们伴唱奏乐，有时两位主会称赞男孩们说：“太棒了，太棒了。”
So many games, so much playfulness.
他们做了这么多的游戏，玩了这么多的各种好玩的事情。
And they would do this all day long, every day.
他们每天就这样一天到晚都是这样一起玩耍嬉戏。
Read.
Yes， 就这样，当 Krishna 和 Balarama 漫游在稳达稳的山川河流、峡谷、灌木、树丛和湖泊间，他们玩着各种广为人知的游戏。
On the right, you see some boys getting ready to wrestle.
我们在左边的图片上，在右边的图片上，我们可以看见牧牛童们，他们准备好互相的摔跤角逐。
Another boy is riding on Krishna like Krishna is a horse, and he's telling him to go quickly.
另一个小牧牛童，他骑在 Krishna 的背上，让 Krishna 快点，快点。
Some are participating in the fun, some are observing and laughing at the activities of all the boys.
那所有的这些小牧牛童们，他们有的在一旁观看着这些好玩的游戏，有的参与其中，一起来享受其中的乐趣。
Sometimes Krishna would just engage directly with the forest animals.
有的时候 Krishna 只是跟那些森林里的动物在一起，那些动物们围绕在 Krishna 身边。
Although this was during the summer, everything looked and felt just like it was spring. Such a beautiful season.
虽然这里描述的是稳达文夏天的时光，但是在稳达文的夏季是如此的美妙，就像春天一样。
Sometimes Krishna would stop the play and sit beneath a tree and just play upon his flute, and all the boys would be charmed and enchanted.
有的时候 Krishna 会停下玩游戏，坐在树下开始吹奏他的笛子，而那些牧牛童们被他的笛音所吸引，围坐在 Krishna 身边。
Next.
Yes， 有时牧牛童们会玩 Bira 或空把果实，有时玩一把阿玛拉卡果子，其他时候他们会玩真香触碰他人或者蒙眼猜人的游戏，有时他们会模仿各种动物和飞鸟。
That image on the right side, I asked some devotees from India, what's that?
在右边的图片，这是我请印度的奉献者们来提供出来的。那这是什么呢？
They explained they used to do this when they were small children.
他们解释说，当他们小的时候，他们经常玩这种游戏。
Two boys placed their arms on each other's shoulders.
有两个小男孩，他们互相搭着彼此的肩膀。
And a third boy holds onto their arms like it's trunks or branches of a tree.
然后第三个男孩呢，就勾住，用手拽着他们的胳膊，就像是一根树干似的，荡在那里。
And they swing that boy and they lift that boy, and it's another game.
然后呢，这两个搭着肩膀的小牧牛童呢，就荡着，拽着他们胳膊的那个小牧牛童，就像荡秋千一样，就这样玩着。
You now have a very full picture of the life of a cowherd boy.
所以你们在这里并不会一一的去完全的看到牧牛童们他们玩的所有的这些游戏。
Into the middle of this scene came Pralambasura.
而就在他们这样玩耍中间的时候 ，Pralambasura 来了。
Please read.
Yes， 一日，正当他们玩耍时，一个大恶魔 Pralambasura 伪装成牧牛童朋友，偷偷溜进森林。他躲在一棵树后，监视男孩们，盘算着绑架 Krishna 和 Balarama 的阴谋。
On the left, hanging on that branch of a tree, is Pralambasura.
我们在这张图片的左边看到悬挂在树上的、荡在树上的那个人就是 Pralambasura。
In his thoughts, he's thinking, what's the best way I can kidnap Krishna? Ha ha ha.
脑海里他是这么想的：我应该以怎么样最好的方式去绑架 Krishna 和 Balarama？ 哈哈哈哈！
Pralambasura had a plan to kidnap them and take them to Kamsa.
Pralambasura 他的阴谋是绑架 Krishna 和 Balarama 兄弟俩，把他们带到康萨面前。
One of Krishna's cowherd boyfriends was named Bhadra.
有一个小狼，有一个小木牛童，他的名字叫 Bhadra，
And he disguised himself as Bhadra.
而 Pralambasura 就伪装成了 Bhadra 这个小木牛童。
Because that day, Bhadra had to stay home and perform some duties at home.
因为就在那一天的时候 Bhadra 他待在了家里，在家里要完成一些职责。
And the pastime took place in Bandiravan. We heard about Bandiravan earlier.
而这段消时光呢，正发生在 Bandiravan 森林里。我们曾经聆听过 Bandiravan 森林。
Bandiravan is named after a particular tree.
Bandiravan 是一棵
Bandiravana.
Bandiravana 是以一棵特别的树的名字命名的。
There are 12 forests in Vrindavan, and one of them is Bandiravana.
在文达文有12座森林，其中的一座森林就是 Bandiravan。
Vana means forest.
Vanam 是意思是森林。
And Bandira is the name of a particular tree.
Bandira 是一棵树的名字。
And this particular tree is really, really big.
而 Bandira 这样的树非常非常的庞大。
Its branches stretch several miles.
Bandira 树的树枝能够延伸好几英里的方圆范围之内。
So this particular pastime takes place beneath that massive Bandira tree in Bandiravana.
那么这段逍遥时光就发生在 Bandiravana 森林这棵巨大无比的 Bandira 树下。
When we are again able to visit Vrindavan, that's a very nice place to go.
当我们能够真的实地的去拜访文达文的时候，我们就会去到这个特别的地方。
Now Krishna understood who Pralamba was. He wasn't Bhadra, his friend. He's a demon.
Krishna 他心里非常的清楚 Pralambasura 是何许人也，他根本就不是假装成的 Bhadra， 而是一个大恶魔。
Read.
Yes, Krishna 至尊人格守神清楚 Pralambasura 的心思，因此他开始规划铲除恶魔的计策。
Pralambasura is over there on the right, disguising himself as one of the cowherd boys.
Pralambasura 他已经在那里了，就像我们在图片的右边看到了，他把自己伪装成一个小牧牛童朋友的样子。
Read next.
Yes， 现在在 Dasharha 王朝的至尊主 Krishna 洞悉一切，所以他知道那个恶魔是谁。然而主仍旧假装把这个恶魔接受为朋友， 但与此同时，心里却认真思考着如何杀死他。
On the right side, there's Pralamba standing alone.
我们在这张图片的右边可以看到 Pralambasura 一人站在那里。
Krishna wanted Pralamba to be part of a plan, so instead of Pralamba killing Krishna, Pralamba could be killed.
Krishna 想要 Pralambasura 加入到他们的游戏当中，如此呢 ，Pralambasura 实现他想要杀死 Krishna 的这个阴谋，但是实际上在这个阴谋当中 ，Pralambasura 自食其果，被杀死。
But Krishna wanted to give this service to Balaram.
但是 Krishna 想要把这个服务交给 Balarama 来做。
So here's Krishna's plan.
所以 Krishna 的计策是这样子的。
Right?
Yes， 于是 Krishna 召唤他所有的朋友一起玩一个新游戏。他说：“让我们平均分成2组，然后1对1的格斗。”
This was a standard game.
这是一个非常典型的一个游戏。
Here's the description.
对这个游戏是这样描述的：
Read.
牧牛童们分成2组，2位主当2个组的领头。
You see in the painting, there's Krishna on one side over on the right. There's Balaram on the other side over on the left. And they were leaders of 2 different teams.
我们在这个图片上可以看到 ，Krishna 在右边带领着一组牧牛童， Balarama 在左边带着另一组牧牛童，而他们2个人都是这2组牧牛童的领头。
Read.
Yes. Balarama 向一名男孩挑战进行打斗时 ，Krishna 欢迎 Pralambasura 加入进来。他假装把恶魔当作朋友，把他纳入游戏之中。他们玩的时候，有些男孩在照料乳牛。
On the left, there's the cows. Some boys continued looking after the cows while others were involved in wrestling.
在左边我们可以看见有一些牧牛童们在放牛，在照顾乳牛；在右边，一些牧牛童们加入到这样的游戏玩耍或者是摔跤之中。
As you see in the painting, Krishna invited Pralamba to be on his team.
我们在这个图片上可以看到 ，Krishna 邀请 Pralambasura 加入到他的这一组牧牛童队伍当中。
And Balaram was assigned to wrestle with Pralamba.
Krishna 安排 Balarama 去跟 Pralambasura 来对打，单打独斗，摔跤。
Please read.
Yes， 有一半男孩，还有 Pralambasura 站在 Krishna 这边，另一些跟 Balarama 在一起，就这样格斗开始了。
As you can see up in the sky, there's some demigods watching.
我们在这张图片的上方可以看到，在天空中有一些半神人们在观看这样的游戏。
This type of childhood play has a Sanskrit name.
这种小男孩的游戏有一个特别的梵文名字。
And Hari Nakridanam is the name of that wrestling game.
而他们的这种格斗梵文词称之为 Harinakridanam。
Read.
Yes， 他们接着玩名为 Harinakridanam 的儿童游戏，每个男孩跟一个对手单打独斗，所有的男孩分别对抗各自的对手。
Read.
Yes， 打输了的男孩要把赢家背在肩上，借着 Krishna 甜蜜的愿望，他被 Sridharma 打败。Pralambasura 输给了 Balarama， Vajrasena 输给了 Vishaka。
There in the painting, you see Balaram sitting on Pralambasura's chest, so Balaram won.
我们在这个图片上可以看到 Pralambasura 被 Balarama 打败了 ，Balarama 骑在他的胸膛上。
The rule of the game is that losers would have to carry the winners.
而这个儿童游戏的规则是，输家要驮着赢家。
And this means that Pralambasura had to carry Balarama on his shoulders.
那就意味着 Pralambasura 要把 Balarama 驮在自己的肩膀上。
Read.
Yes， 男孩们玩各种跟背人有关的游戏，在这些游戏中，赢家爬到输家的背上，输家要驮着赢家。
During Krishna's time, this Bandira tree had branches that expanded for 8 miles.
在 Krishna 的那个时候，在稳达文森林这个图片上有 Bandira 树，这棵树它的枝干能够延伸到8英里之外。
In this wrestling match, as you can see in the painting on the right, Krishna lost.
我们在这张图片上可以看到，他们在打斗的游戏当中 ，Krishna 在右边，我们可以看到 Krishna 输了，他背着被打赢他的人，打赢他的小木牛头。
Radharani had an older brother, and his name was Sridham.
Radharani 有一个哥哥，他的名字叫 Sridham，
So Krishna had to carry Sridham.
所以 Krishna 他输给了 Sridham， 他必须驮着 Sridham。
And over on the left, Pralamba had to carry Balaram.
在这个图片的左边 Pralamba 必须要驮着 Balarama。
Here's some painting and a drawing of the same.
我们在这个图片上可以看到有2张画面，描述的是同一个游戏的场景。
Read.
Yes， 按照游戏的规则 ，Krishna 得背着 Sridham，Vishaba 得驮着 Bhadrasena， 伪装成木牛童的 Pralambasura 要把 Balarama 扛在肩上。
In the bottom right of the painting, that's Pralamba carrying Balaram.
我们在这张图片的右下方可以看到 Pralambasura 驮着 Balarama。
Now the text in Gopal Champu said that initially Pralamba was attracted to Krishna, but then he became afraid of him.
在
Gopal Champu.
Gopa Champa， 在 Gopa Champa， 在 Gopa Champa 的诗节当中是这样描述的：一开始的时候 ，Pralambasura 被 Krishna 所吸引，但是在这个时候 ，Pralambasura 却害怕起 Krishna 来。
His original idea was to carry them both to Mathura and hand them over to Kamsa.
他一开始的阴谋呢，计划就是想把 Krishna 和 Balarama 2个人都带到 Mathura， 带到 Kamsa 的面前，交给 Kamsa 来处置。
But he now became a little fearful of Krishna, so he wanted to take Balaram all the way to Mathura.
但是现在 Pralambasura 他害怕起 Krishna 来，所以他打算把 Balarama 一直驮到 Mathura 去。
Please read.
Yes， Pralambasura 想在不招惹 Krishna 的情况下绑架 Balarama， 他把 Balarama 扛在肩上，跑到别处，离大家玩耍的地方很远。
He began to run further and further and faster and faster.
他跑得越来越远，越来越远，跑得也越来越快，越来越快。
And Balaram was enjoying the ride.
Balarama 非常享受骑在 Pralambasura 肩上的快乐。
But actually, Balaram is heavy as the whole universe, and his weight started to weigh down the shoulders of Pralamba.
Balarama 它实际上是比整个宇宙重如整个宇宙的力量，一直把这个 Pralambasura 压得喘不过气儿。
Please read.
Yes， 无所不能的 Balarama 开始把自己变得越来越重， Pralambasura 体力不支，再也掩藏不住自己的原形。Balarama 有点纳闷，真奇怪，这木牛童怎么变样了？
The commentary explains that Balaram is actually all-knowing or omniscient.
在评述当中是这样说到的 ：Balarama 他是无所不能、无所不知的。
But his own Yogamaya potency covered him that omniscience so that he could enjoy this pastime in this particular way.
但是他自身的 Yogamaya 能量覆盖了他，在这种情况下覆盖了他无所不知的这一个特征。这样如此，他就能够在这种情形之下享受其中的乐趣。
Very gradually, that Yogamaya curtain pulled back a little bit more and a little bit more, and he started to understand this isn't just a cowherd boy. This is a very strange demon.
逐渐的 Yogamaya 的Yogamaya 的帷幕被慢慢的移去了，然后 Balarama 他的无所不知的特征慢慢的完全的展露开来，于是他认识到了，这哪里是木牛童朋友啊，这分明就是一个奇怪的恶魔嘛。
Pralamba was no longer able to hide his real form, and the cowherd boy form was given up in favor of the demon form.
Pralambasura 在这种情况下，他再也掩藏不住自己的恶魔原型，放弃了木牛童的这一身伪装。
Right?
Yes， 恶魔现在原形毕露，模样恐怖。他身材高耸入云，眼睛火辣，牙齿尖利。Balarama 恍然大悟，意识到此人哪里是朋友，分明是恶魔，想要杀死他。
Now, Pralambasura was thinking, I am very powerful. Who is as powerful as me?
Pralambasura 心里想，我特别的孔武有力，有谁比我更有力量呢？
But he was a demon. He didn't understand the powerfulness of Balaram.
但是 Pralambasura 毕竟是个恶魔，他一点都不了解 Balarama 的力量所在。
Pralambasura not only was walking and becoming bigger, but he was flying in the sky.
Pralambasura 那个时候，他不仅一边走一边变得越来越庞大，他甚至在空中飞翔。
Don't make a mistake like that with Balaram. You're finished.
可别把 Balarama 想成这样，把 Balarama 给想错了，不然的话，你就要被结果掉了。
Please read.
手持离具武器的主 Balarama 看到恶魔的巨型身体在空中飞速移动，他眼睛熊熊燃烧，头发火红，可怕的牙齿触及紧蹙的眉头，他的臂环、头冠和耳环发出惊人的光芒，主看似有点受惊吓的样子。
That Balaram was feeling frightened is another ecstasy arranged by the Lord's internal potency.
Balarama 看似有点惊吓的样子，实际上是主的内在能量的一种安排下所展示出来的狂喜。
The ecstasy of fear is described in relation to the killing of Bakasura.
在讲述 Bakasura 的这段描述当中，讲述了受惊吓的狂喜。
Maybe you remember when Krishna entered the mouth of Bakasura, Balaram the cowherd boys fainted seeing Krishna in his mouth.
也许大家还记得，当 Krishna 走进 Bakasura 的口中， Balarama 和其他的木牛童们看到了这一幕，担心的不得了，于是晕倒在地。
In most cases, Balaram is very clear and understanding that Krishna is all powerful.
在大多数情况下，巴拉拉玛非常的清楚 Krishna 的无所不能的力量。
But sometimes to experience an intensification of his attachment for Krishna, he'll forget and he'll feel great anxiety and even faint.
但有的时候，巴拉拉玛他展示出了这种展示出了对 Krishna 的这种担忧，展示出了不知晓 Krishna 的无所不能的这种情况，乃至于他甚至有的时候担心的晕厥过去。
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Balarama is thinking, oh no, if there's a demon here with me, maybe Krishna is also in danger. And that was the cause of his feeling a little frightened.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur 是这样评述的：当巴拉拉玛看到这个大恶魔的时候，他就联想到了，哦不 ，Krishna 也处在这样的一种危险的情况下。哦，他那个时候巴拉拉玛非常的担心，乃至于甚至有的时候晕了过去。
And what did Balaram do when he realized that Pralambasura wasn't a cowherd boy but a demon?
当巴拉拉玛了解到 Pralambasura 根本就不是木牛童，而是一个大恶魔的时候，巴拉拉玛做了什么呢
What?
？Yes， 想起现实的处境，无所畏惧的巴拉拉玛明白，这恶魔企图绑架他，把他从伙伴身边带走。主当时暴怒起来，他用他的铁拳痛击恶魔的头，就像半神人的君王阴爪用他的霹雳武器猛击高山一样。
In most of these paintings, we see Balaram with his right arm raised, ready to strike Pralambasura in the head.
我们在接下来的很多的图片上可以看到，巴拉拉玛骑在Pralambasura 的肩膀上，用他的铁拳狠狠地揍Pralambasura 的头。
In this painting in the upper left, it shows Krishna and the cowherd boys in the background, but actually Pralambasura was far, far away.
在这张左页上方的图片上，我们可以看见 Krishna 和其他的木牛童们在旁一起观看到了这个场景，但实际上当时的场景是 Pralambasura 他驮着 Balarama 已经飞到了很远的地方。
Pralambasura's body was huge.
Pralambasura 的身体非常的庞大。
But Balaram's power is mightier than any Asura.
但是 Balarama 的力量是任何 Asura 恶魔所不能够比拟的。
With his right fist, he bashed him in the head very hard.
Balarama 用他的右拳狠狠地击向 Pralambasura 的头。
Please read.
Yes. Balarama 用强有力的拳头痛击恶魔的头，眼如霹雳，轰击山顶。
And with one blow of his fist, Pralambasura was finished.
Balarama 就用狠狠的一个铁拳就把 Pralambasura 打死了。
Please read.
Yes， 在 Balarama 铁拳的痛击下 ，Pralambasura 的头立刻崩裂开来，恶魔口吐鲜血，失去了知觉，仿佛一座被鹰爪摧毁的高山，轰的一声巨响，倒地身亡。
From a distance, the cowherd boys heard this big crash.
在远处的木牛童们都听到了轰然一响。
If you see in the painting, way in the back, there's some cows and there's some cowherd boys, even though Pralambasura is far away.
尽管 Pralambasura 当时已经在很遥远的地方，但是我们在这个图片上可以看到，在远处的木牛童们，他们听到了远处传来的爆裂声。
Read.
Yes， 木牛童们看到强劲的 Balarama 杀死了恶魔 Pralamba， 他们惊讶万分，禁不住惊叹道：“太好了，太棒了！”
Again, look below, and you'll see some cowherd boys. And
我
some
们在
cows.
这张 ，yes， 我们在这张图片下方可以看到一些牧牛童的身影。
According to Gopal Champu, the soul of the body of Pralambasura left his body, made a bright flash or effulgence in the sky, and merged into the body of Lord Balaram.
在《Gopa Champu》这本书当中是这样描述的：在 Pralambasura 被 Balarama 一拳击毙之后，他体内的灵魂，体内的灵魂从他的身体当中脱离出来，闪闪发光的在空中漂浮，然后进入到主 Balarama 的身体当中，融入到主 Balarama 的身体当中。
Again, look closely, and you can see in the background cowherd boys and some cows.
我们在这张图片的远处可以看到那些牧牛童们的身影。Yes， 受到 Balarama 铁拳的猛击 ，Pralambasura 倒地身亡，发出巨大的撞击声，他口里血流如注。听到巨大的声响，所有男孩迅速跑来，目睹所发生的一切。男孩们一到现场，看到可怕的场景，全都惊愕不已。就在那时 ，Krishna 开始赞美他的哥哥 Balarama。
All along, Krishna knew this was a demon.
从头到尾 ，Krishna 始终都知道这是个大恶魔。
But he wanted Balaram to take care of the duty of finishing him.
但是 Krishna 想要 Balarama 亲自去杀死这个恶魔这个任务。
One of Krishna's purposes was his favorite activity, singing the glories of Balaram.
Krishna 他特别最喜爱的一个活动之一，就是去歌颂 Balarama 的荣耀。
Read.
Yes， 每个牧牛童都祝贺 Balarama， 他们心中充溢着对他的深情厚爱，纷纷亲切地拥抱他。那时，天上的半圣人们兴高采烈地向 Balarama 抛洒花语。
You see in the upper portion of the painting, there's some demigods, and they're pouring many flowers on Balaram to appreciate his powerful feet.
我们在这个图片的上方可以看到，那里有许多的半神人们，他们纷纷的在向主 Balarama 抛洒花语，来称赞 Balarama 所取得的丰功伟绩，荣耀他。
Then?
Yes， 在文达文度过了漫长而兴奋的白日之后，Krishna 和 Balarama 便带着他们的牧牛童朋友和乳牛，踏上他们回家的路。
That marked the killing of Pralambasura. Marked, it's time to go back home.
杀死 Pralambasura 就标志着他们该到回家的时候到了。
Our acharyas explain that every day Krishna would kill a demon around 11 o'clock, which was a sign that it was time for lunch.
我们的 Acharya 们在他们的著作当中评述到 ，Krishna 在文达文的每一天到森林里，会在中午11点钟的时候杀死恶魔。那个时候11点正好也是午餐的时候。
And every day, as the day was wearing on towards the end, Krishna would kill another demon, which was a sign time to go back home.
而在接下来的时候呢 ，Krishna 又会杀死另外一个恶魔。杀死这个恶魔之后，就标志着他们回家的时候到了。
This was arranged by the internal potency.
这都是在至尊主的内在能量的安排之下发生的。
One of the reasons was Balaram, Krishna, and the cowherd boys were so engaged and enjoying their activities together. They wouldn't even have had lunch and they wouldn't even have had come back. But it was a reminder, it's time for both.
而这个其中的原因之一呢，就是 Krishna 和 Balarama 带着这些牧牛童们，他们是如此的全身的投入到各种各样的游戏嬉戏当中，来自于他们甚至会忘记了午餐，甚至也会忘记回家的时候。当 Krishna 杀死这些恶魔，或 Balarama 杀死恶魔的时候，就标志着他们该吃午餐了，或者是该回家的时候到了。
Every day, after some demon was killed,
每天恶魔被杀死之后，
the cowherd boys composed some songs that glorified the activity of Krishna's killing a particular demon, and in a very musical way they sang all the way back home.
这些牧牛童们都会按照Krishna 杀死的恶魔的逍遥时光来编写他们的歌曲，以非常悦耳的音乐来歌颂 Krishna 杀死恶魔的逍遥时光。就这样，他们一路回家的路上都歌唱着这些逍遥。
Their parents, seeing the boys returning, would eagerly go to the edge of the village.
当这些牧牛童们的父母们看到牧牛童们归来的时候，进入到村庄的时候，
they would hear the boys narrating the story of Krishna's activities that day in their songs.
他们就会听到这些牧牛童们在歌唱着 Krishna 在森林里所进行的每日的逍遥时光。
And then they composed their own songs.
而他们的父母也会编写他们自己的歌曲。
There's a nice verse at the end of the Brahma Samhita prayers.
在 Brahma Samhita 祈祷文当中，有最后一段是这样描述的。
Part of that verse says that in the spiritual world, all speaking is singing and all walking is dancing.
在这段诗文当中，有一段是这样描述的：在灵性世界，每一步都是舞蹈，每一句话都是歌谣。
And that's exactly what they would do. They would simply sing the glories of Krishna.
这就是稳达文居民们他们每日所做的，他们歌唱着 Krishna 的荣耀 ，Krishna 的逍遥时光。
Here's a nice painting that's showing the whole pastime.
在这个图片里面描述了这整段逍遥时光。
Down here, it shows the wrestling pastime.
在右下方讲述的是牧牛童们和 Krishna Balarama 在一起摔跤的逍遥时光。
Up here, it shows Krishna dividing the cowherd boys into two groups.
在上方是 Krishna 把牧牛童们分成两组。
Over here is Pralambasura taking Balarama away.
在左上方我们可以看到 Pralambasura 驮着 Balarama 走到远处。
And down here is Balaram striking Pralambasura in the head and cracking open his head, and he falls to the ground dead.
我们在左下方可以看到 Balarama 用他的铁拳猛击 Pralambasura 的头，乃至他的头爆裂开来，倒地身亡。
And I think this is supposed to be the Bandira tree, but it's not big enough.
我想图中的这棵大树呢，就是本迪尔树，但是这棵树并没有画的那么大。
Read.
Yes， 罪孽深重的恶魔 Pralambasura 已被铲除，半神人们高兴极了，他们纷纷向主 Balarama 抛洒鲜花花环，歌颂他卓越的事迹。
Many of you know about the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
你们在座的很多人都了解 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 的教导。
He describes the demons killed by Krishna in his pastimes in Braja, gives us lessons about Krishna's removing obstacles on the path of sadhana bhakti.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur 在他的著作当中说到了，就 Krishna 在文达文上演铲除恶魔的各种消时光，实际上是有其中的深刻的寓意和教导我们可以怎么样去去除掉我们在奉爱服务道路上的各种障碍。
And this painting very expertly illustrates what Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes about.
而这个图片呢，就非常精湛的阐明了 Pralambasura 这个恶魔代表我们心中的哪些不洁。
The painting itself illustrates lust, personal gain, and wishing to have honor and praise from others.
我们在这个图片的左上方可以看到，这个描述了各种各样的不洁的欲望。第一个描述的是心中的色欲，中间描述的是渴望得到名声地位，第三个是描述的希望得到他人的尊重和赞誉。
And those that can read what it says up here have said to me, that's exactly what the text says as well.
而我们在这个左上方的图片上面分别看到的这些梵文词，还有这个英文的注释，就是一一的描述了刚才所描述的这些欲望的梵文名称。
An obstacle on the path of bhakti for a practicing sadhaka.
而且这个图片也说明了我们作为 sadhaka， 我们作为练习奉爱服务的修习奉爱服务规范的奉献者，在奉爱的道路上所遇到的各种障碍。
The first one mentioned is lust.
我们在修行奉爱服务的道路上所遇到的障碍，第一个障碍就是心中的色欲。
Another is desire for wealth and personal gain by devotional practice.
而另一个障碍就是通过奉爱的修行去获得个人想要拥有的财富，或者是名声欲望，或者是名誉。
And the third is the desire for others to appreciate you and honor you and show you some special attention.
而这第三个障碍呢，就是渴望得到他人的尊重、他人的欣赏，去得到别人的认可，得到别人的重视。
Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that Pralambasura represents all three of these obstacles.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur 是这样描述的 ：Pralambasura 这个大恶魔就代表了这里所讲到的奉爱道路上的这三种障碍。
Here's another illustration of the same.
这是另一个插图来说明了同一个道理。
This fellow is very eager to take assistance from this person to get on a high seat.
我们在这个图片的右方可以看到，骑在这个图中有一个大家伙，他骑在另一个帮助他的人的背上，想要爬到一个高位上。
And after he gets on the high seat, he mistreats that person who helped him.
当他一旦坐到这个高位上的时候，他就立刻虐待起曾经帮助他获得这个位置的人，把他一脚踢开了。
Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions Duryodhana as such a person.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur 说到了 Duryodhana 就是这样的一个家伙。
Of course, it was Dushasana that was trying to disrobe Draupadi.
在这个图片上，我们可以看到 Dushasana 他想要把 Draupadi 的衣服扒光。
But it was under the direct indication of Karna and Duryodhana to disgrace her that way.
而 Dushasana 他之所以这么做，是在 Duryodhana 的唆使之下，Duryodhana 让他这么去羞辱 Draupadi 的。
In Garga Samhita, we find Narada giving a teaching of who Pralamba was in his previous life. 在
Garga Samhita 这本书当中， Narada Muni 他描述了 Pralambasura 在前世是什么样的人物。
Please read.
Yes. Pralambasura 的前世，为了崇拜主希瓦，一日Yaksha 王库维尔吩咐 Yaksha 们把鲜花做的 Raksha 护身符放到他美丽森林的各个地方。当有些鲜花被盗之后，孔武有力的 Yaksha 王库维尔发出一个诅咒，他说：有哪个半神人或人类拿走这些鲜花，就会变成恶魔，这就是我的诅咒。
When we discussed the story of Dhruva Maharaj, we heard about yakshas.
当我们讨论讲述 Dhruva Maharaj 的逍遥时光的时候，我们聆听到了 Yaksha。
Yakshas had killed his stepbrother, Uttama.
Yaksha 们他们杀死了他的同父异母的兄弟
Uttama.
Uttama, yes.
Now, Dhruva became angry, took his whole army, and went to the capital of the Yakshas.
Dhruva Maharaj 听到了这件事情之后，他愤怒之下率领的千军万马，他的军队奔赴到了 Yaksha 的首府。
Yakshas take shelter of Kuvera.
那个时候 Yaksha 们他们托庇在 Kuvera 的门下。
The Kuvera here is called the Yaksha king.
Kuvera 在这里被描述为是 Yaksha 王。
Kuvera supplied a place in his very special heavenly forest for Lord Shiva to reside for some time.
Kuvera 他把他在天堂星球上的一个居所提供给主希瓦居住。
So there's a relationship between Kuvera and Shiva.
所以 Kuvera 和主希瓦之间他们二人是非常有着亲密的关系。
And there's a relationship between the Yakshas and Kuvera.
而 Yaksha 们和 Kuvera 之间也是有着紧密关联的。
Now you see in the painting drawing here, there's a fellow walking along in the garden.
我们在这个图片上可以看到，图中有一个家伙在那里漫步。
And this young fellow was a worshiper of Vishnu. He was a Vaishnava, and he didn't know about Kuvera's curse.
而图中的这个年轻人，他是主 Vishnu 或 Krishna 的奉献者，是一位 Vaishnava， 但是他当时一点都不知道 Kuvera 所发下的这个诅咒。
Please read.
Yes. 那时，呼呼的儿子 Gandharva Vijaya 踏上了拜访许多圣地的朝圣之旅，他一路歌颂着主 Vishnu 的荣耀，来到 Chitraratha 森林。这位手持 Veena 琴的 Gandharva 不知道这个诅咒，拿了些那里的 Sumanaha 鲜花。顷刻间，他离开了 Gandharva 的身体，变成了一名恶魔。
He actually did nothing wrong.
实际上，他没做错什么事儿。
Flowers are meant to be offered to Vishnu.
这些鲜花本来就应该把这些鲜花供奉给主 Vishnu 的。
It's very common in India as one is passing by some place and there are some flowers growing on a tree or something, to take a small number of those flowers and offer in your morning worship. It's very common.
在印度人们他们经过一条路，然后看到这路两边有一些鲜花，便会信手采一些鲜花，拿回家，在早上的时候供奉给至尊主，这是司空见惯的事儿。
But now you see in the bottom, Vijaya became a demon.
但是 我们在这张图片的下方可以看到 Vijaya 这个奉献者却变成了一个恶魔。
Please read.
Yes， 他立即托庇了伟大的灵魂库维尔，他双手合十，致以顶拜，发出恳求。库维尔对他甚为满意，祝福他说：“你是主 Vishnu 内心平和的奉献者，尊敬的人啊，请不要悲伤。”
Then Kuvera gave this benediction.
然后库维尔就给了他这样的一个祝福，在 Dwapar， I read
Yes.
在 Dwapar Yuga 末，Yamuna 河岸的 Bandira 湾森林，你将从主 Balarama 的手中获得解脱，这是毋庸置疑的。就这样，呼呼的 Gandharva 儿子变成了一个大恶魔，但借着 Kuvera 的恩典，他得到了解脱。
So that's our presentation for this morning.
这就是我们今天早课的一些展示和内容分享。
Kartik month has begun.
Kartika 月已经开始了。
Later this month, we'll make a virtual visit to Vrindavan.
在这个 Kartika 月之末，我们会带领大家在网上绕拜Vrindavan。
And otherwise, I'm going to make an effort to speak about some pastime of Krishna in Vrindavan for the Kartik month for our morning classes.
不然的话，我就会在 Kartika 月早课的时候，跟大家一起来分享 Krishna 在 Vrindavan 的逍遥时光。
And otherwise, you can join us for the Vrindavan Yatra.
或者要不然大家可以一起加入到我们在网上绕拜 Vrindavan 的活动当中。
So let's see if there's some discussion.
我们来看看大家有什么需要讨论的或者是问题。Yes, Gurumaj, there is one question. 顶拜 Guru， 请问为什么同一位 Guru 的门徒们相像，不同的 Guru 的门徒不像？这和 Guru 有什么关系吗？在灵性世界也是不同的团队吗？ This question from Android, Blue Jord. Yeah, I offer my obeisance to Guru. My question is that the disciples of the same Guru, they're very similar. But the disciples of the different Gurus, they are not similar. So does this have any connection or relationship with with the spiritual master? In the spiritual world, also there are also different teams.
The premise of your question is something that I'm not sure I agree with.
你提出来的这个问题，我有一部分是持不同的意见的。
I find there's lots of differences amongst the disciples of one guru, of that same guru.
我发现，即便是同一位灵性导师的不同的门徒当中，这些门徒们也是各不相同的，有很大的程度，有很大的不同。
Similarly, trying to extend this to some otherworldly situation or broader situation, I don't think I agree with the premise, and so I don't agree with the conclusion.
同样的，我们延伸到这个更大的一个范围，更大的一个区域来说，也是这样。所以呢，从更广度的角度来说，我是不同意你在这里在提问当中所得出的这个结论。Yeah. He said that in the spiritual world there are different teams in the spiritual world.
Different teams, yes.
在灵性世界是有不同的团队。
There's different personalities, and personalities have a tendency to like to associate with like-minded personalities. That's true. It has nothing to do with guru.
那么呢，在灵性世界也有不同的团队，但是呢，这跟灵性导师是没什么关系的。在灵性世界里有不同的人物，而这些各种不同的人物，他们喜欢跟志同道合或者是内心有类似想法的人物在一起。Next question.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. 下一个问题是来自于 Bhakta Tom。Hare Krishna 顶拜 Guru 和奉献者的莲花族，所有荣耀归于圣帕布帕德。请问 Krishna 在 Vrindavan 每天都杀死恶魔，但记录下来的有若干个杀恶魔的消时光，是不是还有其他的恶魔没有被记载下来呢？This question from Bhakta Tom. Hare Krishna, I offer my obeisances to Guru and the lotus feet of Guru and the other devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question is that Krishna, every day Krishna kills the demons in Vrindavan. And many of the pastimes that Krishna killed the demons recorded in the scripture. My question is that, is there any other demon killed by Krishna not recorded in scripture?
By mathematical calculation, the answer to your question is obvious.
那么按
mathematical, two demons a day for so many years. Some demons are not mentioned.
那么从这个数学的计算来说 ，Krishna 他每天在文达文上演消时光，他每天在文达文杀死2个恶魔，这样加起来每天杀死2个，日积月累，这么多年过去了，每天杀死2个，那肯定杀死了很多。其中显而易见，就像你说的，有一些恶魔是没有被记载。
The principal ones are mentioned commonly.
通常情况下，那么我想要指出来的一个原则是这样的：通常情况下是Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
I'm finished.
Yeah. 对，这是指出来的一个原则啊。通常情况下是这样。Yes. The next question from 默默，顶拜 Guru 翻译和所有奉献者，怎样加入网上绕拜？I offer my obeisance to Guru and all the devotees. My question is that how to register the virtual Vrindavan Yatra?
I think at the end of this class, Surabhi can send to you and to others the method for registering for the virtual Vrindavan Yatra.
我想关于这个问题的回答是在这个今天的早课结束之后 Surabhi 他会把怎样这个参加网上绕拜的这个登记发给大家。Yes, the next question from Bhakti. 恶魔被 Balarama 杀死，灵魂融入 Balarama 的身体，而这个恶魔前生是一位奉献者，奉献者融入 Balarama 是哪一种解脱呢？ So, the demon killed by Balarama and his soul merged into the body of Balarama. So, and from the description, it said that this demon was a devotee in his previous life. So, what kind of liberation it is that the devotee is merged into Balarama?
Very nice question.
非常好的一个问题。
Our acharyas describe that sometimes the demon will enter into this sayuja situation and then be elevated to the spiritual world.
我们的先前的 Acharya 在他们的评述当中是这样说到的：有的时候被杀死的这个恶魔，他们的灵魂到达了 Sayuja 的这个层面，然后继而被提升到灵性世界。
Since he was a Vaishnav, he didn't just achieve impersonal liberation. Ultimately, he achieved spiritual status.
而这个，因为他这个 Pralambasura 这个恶魔，他前生是一个奉献者，因为他是一个奉献者，所以显而易见，他得到的这个解脱不是非人格的 Sayuja 融入光灿当中的这种非人格的解脱，他是被提升到获得了灵性的福祉。
Maybe you know the story of Krishna's killing Aghasura, and Aghasura also achieved that Sayuja liberation.
也许你还记得，当 Krishna 杀死 Balarama， 而 Balarama 也获得了 Sayuja 解脱。
But it's in the commentary on the type of liberation of Aghasura was that he attained the spiritual world afterwards.
Aghasura， 那么我刚才翻译错了哈，是这个 Aghasura 被 Krishna 杀死之后，他得到的解脱实际上是被提升到了灵性世界。
And that was one who was inimical, but Aghasura was a brother of Putana who achieved Krishna Loka, so he also achieved Krishna Loka by the mercy of Krishna.
那么他们内心实际上是对 Krishna 怀着敌意的，但是由于急着 Krishna 的仁慈，但是 Aghasura 跟 Putana 是 Putana 的弟弟，而 Putana 被 Krishna 杀死，急着 Krishna 的仁慈，他去到了 Goloka Vrindavan， 那又急着 Krishna 的仁慈 ，Aghasura 也回到了灵性世界。
And I thank you for listening so carefully to appreciate that particular point and ask the question.
我非常的感谢你听得如此的仔细，并指出了这一点，提出了相关的问题。
Next.
Yes, the next question from you. 是不是要多去荣耀他人奉献者呢？ So, shall we glorify the others? I mean, the other devotees more and more?
Why not?
为什么不呢？为什么不多去荣耀其他奉献者呢？
Why are you asking the question?
你为什么问这个问题呢？
To glorify devotees more and more. Should there be a question?
去多多的荣耀其他的奉献者，这会成为一个问题要提出来吗？
Maybe you could add something to the chat box and explain the reason why you're asking this question.
也许你在这个聊天室里，再解释多一点，为什么您提出这个问题？能不能给多一点解释呢？这样我就能够更好的、更详细的去予以回答。Yes, this devotee now does not send the further explanation.
Okay. Let's go on. He has time.
Yes, OK. 那下一个问题是 Bhakti 提出来的 ，Krishna 和 Balarama 一天杀2个恶魔，一年700多个恶魔，3年2000多个恶魔，可真不少啊！这个，maybe this is not a question Bhakti said that Krishna and Balaram killed 2 demons in one day. So that means 1 year they killed 700 demons. And within 3 years, more than 2,000 demons
Yeah, lots of
killed.
demons. Lots
Yeah.
of demons.
是的，是的，杀死的恶魔可真不少。
And they had lunch every day, too.
而且他们每天都是要吃午餐的，杀死了恶魔吃午餐。
And they went home every day because that was if they wasn't a demon, they would have just stayed playing all day long, all night long.
如果没有恶魔出现的话，他们就会一天到晚在森林里玩耍嬉戏，乐不知返。
So it served a second purpose to remind them it's time for lunch and to remind them it's time to go back.
所以呢，这个杀死这些恶魔呢，也是有第二个目的，这样呢就能够提醒他们该吃午餐了，提醒他们该回家的时候到了。 Next question from 玄心平。顶拜咕噜翻译和所有奉献者。前天有个人加我，他说是 Godia 的，我说我喜欢 ISKCON 的。Godia， 他的人说加入我们吧，我说我认可 ISKCON。And this devotee 玄心平 said that I offer my obeisance to Guru, translate under all the devotees 顶拜您。The day before yesterday, one person asked me to add their group, and that person told me that he is from Godia, and I told him that I prefer ISKCON. So he just described in this way.
Okay. Next.
Yeah. 然后 Hari Vallabhi Mataji 顶拜敬爱的 Gurudev， 在 Kartika 月可以帮助非奉献者家人供灯吗？具体应该怎么做呢？ This question from Hari Vallabhi Mataji. I offer my obeisances to dear Gurudev. And in Kartika month, can we help our family members to offer lamp for them? And if we do so, what we should do?
Is she asking, is it okay to encourage them? Or is she asking, is it okay to do on their behalf?
那 Guru Maharaj 他想要具体的问一下，是你激励家人去供灯呢，还是说你代表家里人供灯呢？能否解释的更具体一些吗？
Do you know the answer from her question? I'm not clear.
Guru Maharaj, also not very clear.
Okay, so she can send an answer to that question and we'll come back to her.
那 Hari Vallabhi Mataji， 您能够再说的更清楚一些，是您代表家里人供灯，还是说激励家里人去供灯？ on behalf of the family member to offer lamp.
Oh, so they don't need to know anything unless you want them to.
那如果你帮助家里人供灯的话，也不是可以不让他们知道。如果他们愿意想要知道的话，也可以告诉他们你在替他们供灯。
And that depends upon their faith and their appreciation for your devotional mood.
而且这也是取决于他们对你从事奉爱服务的心境的这个信心和他的对你从事奉爱服务的信心，也取决于他们的这种信心。
Even if you do not inform them, they get spiritual benefit.
即便你不告诉家人你在替他们供灯的话，他们也能够从中得到灵性的福祉。
Next.
Yeah, and he would like to know that how to do it.
How to do it?
Yeah.
Devotionally.
那您就怀着奉爱去做就行。
The external doesn't need to change. The internal just needs some alignment towards benefiting your family members.
那外在的这个供灯的这个活动呢，是不变的，你就这么供。然后内心的状态就是你是为了让家里人得到这样的灵性的福祉，跟这个是一致的，这种心境是一致的。
The Sanskrit word is sankalpa, which means intention.
那梵文词对此的梵文词是 sankalpa， 指的是意向或者是目的。
The offering of a lamp doesn't need to change at all. It's the internal intention behind your making that offering that you adjust.
那外在的你供奉灯的这个服务这个活动是不变的，但是内在的你做这个供灯的背后的意向是什么？可能是稍作微调整。Yes. Next question from Bhakti. 今天这个消时光觉得作为奉献者，如果不小心也会被诅咒成恶魔。而 Krishna 说他的奉献者永不毁灭，不小心奉献者被诅咒成恶魔也不会毁灭。语言苦行是说话悦人益人，请问如何把握说话悦人和说话奉承？ Yeah, this question from Bhakti. From today's pastime, I feel that as a devotee, if we're not cautious, then maybe there is a chance to be cursed as a demon. So, but Krishna said that his devotee never perish. So, when the devotee is not careful and be cursed to demon in such a situation, they also never perish.
Correct.
是的，即便是不小心奉献者被诅咒成恶魔，也不会毁灭的。
He didn't perish.
他没有被毁灭，
He achieved liberation.
他获得了解脱。Yes, the second question that the austerity of speech is we speak pleasant words, and those pleasant words also bring benefits to others. So how to adjust that our words is are pleasant and beneficiary. At the same time, do not bluster. Yeah. 奉承 let 奉承，等会儿我 Grandma, I'm sorry, I just like to check. Yeah, flatter. So how to avoid flatter in the speech, at the same time keep our words pleasant and beneficiary?
Two things.
2点
Mode of goodness
一个是要处在善良属性当中，
and caution.
第二个就是要小心翼翼。
Caution will take care of the flattery, and mode of goodness will take care of speech that's pleasing.
而这个小心翼翼呢，会让我们避免说话奉承。而小心翼翼呢，就是能够让我们处在这种善良属性当中。那么 ，Yeah, sorry, Grandma, could you repeat? I little bit missing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mode of goodness will take care of speech that is pleasing.
Yes. 那善良属性能够帮助我们说话益人悦人。
And being cautious and internally cautious about your own intentions can take care of doing some speech that's just praising falsely or flattering somebody else.
而我们内在呢，特别小心翼翼，我们说话时的背后的意向或者是目的，能够帮助我们去避免说话奉承其他的人，或者是说一些违心赞美的话。
The verse that you're referring to comes in chapter 17.
而你后面提出来的这个问题呢，跟圣典博加梵歌第15章17世节息息相17章17世节息息相关。
Krishna explained this is austerity of speech for one who is in the quality of goodness.
Krishna 在这个世节当中说到了言语的苦行，是处在善良属性当中说话悦人益人。
Cultivate and maintain goodness in your speech will naturally be pleasing to others.
那么我们去维系、始终保持，并且去培养处在善良属性当中，就去发话，又能够一直让我们所说的话是益人悦人的。
Next.
Yes. 季东，下一个问题是季东提出来的，顶拜 Guru， 顶拜所有奉献者，可以为已故的亲人供灯吗？ I offer my obeisance to Guru and all the devotees. Can we offer lamp to the Lord for the departed soul? Departed family members?
Why not?
为什么不可以呢？是可以为已故的亲人供灯的。Next question from Honor V20. 顶拜 Guru， 顶拜翻译及所有的奉献者。Damdar 月的第一天有共33盏灯，是权威经典或者是 Guru 认可的吗？ I offer my obeisance to Guru and all the devotees. So, on the first day of Damdar month, to offer 33 lamps. This is authorized by any scripture or spiritual master?
I never heard it before.
我从来没有听说是Damdar第一天有共33盏灯。
And I've experienced over 50 Damodar months in my life as a devotee, but I've never heard it.
在我过去的50多年的修习奉爱服务的经历当中，过了50多个 Kartika 月或者是 Damdar 月，我没听说过这个。
Generally speaking, there's no hard and fast rules about such things.
通常情况下就是关于这个是没有什么硬性规定的。
Next.
Gumarji, so far no more question.
Okay.
请问大家还有什么其他的问题吗？ We wait a moment.
I'll wait a few minutes, a couple minutes, and see if there's other questions.
好的 ，Yes, Gumarji. 那我们稍等几分钟，看看大家其他的奉献者有没有提出问题来的。
You can let them know that I have another class to give just after this class, so I'm perfectly contented to end here.
那么 Gumarji 他讲完这节早课之后，在美国那边这节课之后呢，还有另一节课。如果可以的话，他今天早课到此讲到这里，他也挺高兴的。
Okay, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
那非常感谢大家，那我们今天就到这里。非常感谢 ，Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj。非常感谢圣 Rompada Swami Guru Maharaj 给我们带来的精彩的讲解和回答问题，也非常感谢在座的奉献者们专注。
Give her hand.